All right, guys, we will get started. I want to greet everyone a good afternoon and welcome to Public Health's virtual education series, Wažookį, Family Conversations. I'm Jamie Decora, Public Health Worker Supervisor, and I'm joined today by Renelle, our Public Health Nurse. The goal of the series is to gather, learn, and share about Ho-Chunk culture, resources, services, and the connection to health. In public health, we focus on prevention, promotion, and the protection of health and well-being of our communities. Health and well-being are rooted in many aspects of our lives, from our physical body, our mental health, our spirit, the environment we live in, and much more. During these sessions, we will explore topics that can impact our health and well-being. Together, we will learn about tools and resources to improve our health and the health of our communities. Today, we are joined by Kim Parker from Ho-Chunk Social Services. She will share how to have difficult conversations with our young ones. For those of you joining virtually, please put your email address in the chat and we will email out her handouts to you at a later date. Kim will have about 45 minutes for today's presentation, followed by a Q&A. Please use the chat function to enter in any comments or questions for our presenter, and at the end of her presentation, she will get to them. Any questions that we do not have time for, we will email to Kim and she will get back to the group. Please, everyone, welcome Kim Parker.
Can everybody hear me? I think there might be some feedback.
Loud and clear.
So I'm Kim Parker. I work with Community Supportive Services at the Ho-Chunk Nation Social Services Building. And the Community Supportive Services Program is an opportunity for families, tribal families, to get together and learn different skills, different hobbies, and have different conversations. And so the program that I specifically head up is called Adventures in Parenting. And Adventures in Parenting is an opportunity for parents to come together and to have conversations and to find out that some of the things that you're going through are not super unique just to your family, and that there are several different ways that each situation could be handled. The Adventures in Parenting curriculum is based off the Positive Indian Parenting model. And so it's a 10-week course. We're going to be starting 2 sessions up here in not next week, but the following week. One's going to be in Black River Falls from 9 a.m. at 808 Red Iron Road, which is the social service building. That one does not have childcare, but if you have an infant or a small toddler that you want to bring with, they would just be in the room with us. We'll have light snacks and then phenomenal conversations and then activities that you can take home and replicate with your family. The other Adventures in Parenting class this fall is going to be held in Nakusa on Wednesday evenings from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. We will have a meal provided along with childcare providers for our breakout sessions. And then while the children are doing their activities, us parents will be having some conversations. And then at the end of the evening, we come together, all the families come together, and we will do different activities again, that if there's something that your family enjoys, you can take home and recreate. So yeah, lots going on with Adventures in Parenting, but then also Community Supportive Services provides additional support to families, whether that be if you have family members that want to learn something about your cultural, whether it be beading or making wažookį, budgeting, organic, healthy items to use at home. So there's just a wide range of things that we do. And if you have a topic of something that you're interested in, if you bring it to us, more than likely one of us has some type of experience in that product, or we'll do some research and we'll try to figure something out for you. So one of the things that I like to talk to families about that I still find to be sometimes challenging would be the topic that we're going to be discussing today, which is, talking about difficult conversations. So as an adult female, raised in a home where it was primarily what the man says is what we do, I found that I really didn't have much of a voice at a young age. And so as an adult, I'm still working on finding that. And part of that is being able to, when something's bothering you or something's going on in the home, is being able to really lean into those hard conversations. And so over the years parenting, I have 3 children and I've worked with hundreds of families. That is a common topic. Like, how do we talk to our kids about these challenging subjects? And so I did some research on my own just because it wasn't something that was going away with the families that I was working with. I mean, whether it's from, losing a loved one or losing a family member or a close friend, to a variety of different things, or talking to your child about a sickness or the bully at school. Like, how do you, have these conversations with kids and not make it more traumatic for them, make it super comfortable for them? And so some of the things that I found will be in one of the handouts that you get. It's called Tips for Talking to Your Child About Difficult Topics. And kind of the common theme that I found in all of my research was you make your children feel comfortable, first off. Take them to an area where they feel comfortable. And with each child that could be different. With my boys, I found getting them in the car and going for a ride was the easiest way to talk to my boys, because they were always on the move. They never wanted to sit still, which, by the way, is developmentally appropriate. Boys typically don't want to sit still so much. And so I would get them in the car, we'd go for a ride to look for something, and then I would bring different topics up to them that maybe they were misbehaving in school, or maybe I had heard something had happened to a friend's mom, and I wanted to be the first one to tell them that. So make your child comfortable, whatever that might be. My daughter was more of she wanted to sit and cuddle type girl. So knowing that I could go someplace with her, whether it be outside underneath the great big oak tree, or if it was on the front porch in the couple's rocking chair I have out there, so make your child comfortable. That's the first thing. And then you start by asking your child questions. What do they know about the thing that you want to talk to them about? So let's say that, for an example, like you found out your child's best friend's mom has cancer maybe, or a family member has cancer, and your child knows. Just start out by asking them, do you know about cancer? Do you know what cancer is? And let the child lead that conversation, so you can kind of gauge where that child is at in their knowledge of that topic. And so as they start to bring more things up to you, you can ask them a little bit more questions, digging a little bit deeper to see how much they truly know. Maybe your child's going to say, I don't know anything about cancer other than that people die, and so that could be pretty traumatic. And so that leads me to the next thing. Be honest. Be honest with your child, as honest as you possibly can be. Let's say they say, I know cancer, people die from it. And you can say, yeah, some people do die from cancer. But a lot of people don't die from cancer because there's so many great medicines and doctors out there that have really found some really healing things that they can do for people. And so be super honest with your answers. And be okay with telling your child, if they ask you something, if you don't know, let them know, I don't know. I don't know. Be honest. If you can show your child too that you're not like, you don't know everything, that shows them too that you are being honest with them. And then let them know, I'll see what I can find out. Let's learn this together. If your child just doesn't seem interested in the conversation, let them set the pace. Something's going on there, whether it be they just have so many big feelings that they're trying to process, or maybe it might be a topic that they might be embarrassed about or uncomfortable about. So let them set the pace. So that would be the fourth thing. Let them set the pace of the conversation, but also let them know, like, I'm always here for you if you want to talk about this. Because don't we all want our children to come to us with these serious conversations so we know what information that they're getting, right? And listen. That would be the fifth thing that I would want you to do, is I really want you to listen to your child, and not just listen with your voice or your ears, but listen with your face, listen with your eyes. Really listen to what they're saying to you, how they're presenting themselves to you. If they start to get tears in their eyes, allow them that time to process that emotion, allow them those tears, let them show those expressions, listen to them. The next thing is, again, build on what they know. You know, they might say something like, well, you know, I saw this movie, or my teacher, you know, let's go back to the cancer example. I saw this movie where this mom had cancer and she lost her hair. You know, some people do lose their hair. And so you would just build on what they know so they can find a little bit of confidence in this challenging conversation. Okay. You can also reach out for other resources. So if you have the opportunity, or you have the ability to research online, there are tons of videos out there for parents and children. There's tons of different reading materials. You know, go to your public library and get a book together. I just met with a mom last week, and we did a family activity up in Wittenberg where families were able to come together, and we did a journaling activity, and we talked about the benefits of journaling. And this mom indicated to me that she, as a child, there were times that she didn't feel confident speaking with her mom. And so they started this thing where they had this notebook and they would write things back and forth to each other. And that helped them to build a relationship. So there's different ways. You can read books together. You can watch videos together, movies, do journaling together. Maybe you sit and draw together, you know, draw out your feelings or draw out your questions. The next thing I would say is be responsive. Sometimes kids are going to get stuck with their feelings, like we as adults get stuck with our feelings. But be responsive to those feelings. Reflect with them. You know, it could be like a month after your conversation and a child might bring something up. And, you know, just be responsive to that. Don't push it off. Don't ignore it. Lean back into that difficult conversation. And then always, when you're looking for your children, look for cues in their plays, and in their play and their behavior. So if kids are handling things or having like super stressful situations, you're going to see behavior challenges in them. You're going to see behavior changes. You might have a child who becomes more emotional. You might have a child who wants to go sit in their rooms for an extended amount of time. You might be working with a real little one or playing with a real little one whose behaviors might start to become aggressive. You know, so be looking for those behavior changes in the kiddos, and then address them. And then let them know that the big feelings that they might be having, or that they are having, are normal. And let's talk about those big feelings, or let's draw those big feelings, you know, depending again on your child's age level. So, knowing your child's development is super important. When you start to talk to your child about difficult conversations, and then help your child. I think this is one thing that I wanted to add on. I was very fortunate with my family. I had a strong support system, but not all people do. And so when I work with my families, I talk to them about building natural support systems. And we'll list out people that they feel are natural support systems. And it's not always a trusted family member or a loved family member. It might be the neighbor lady, or it might be a nanny or a daga. And so build that list of trusted people. Help your child build that natural support system. Maybe it's their Head Start teacher that they had a great relationship with. Reintroduce those people to your children, because having that natural support system for them to lean into during the challenging times and during those difficult times will help. You know, there were times where my daughter would go to my sister-in-law to have conversations that she wasn't ready to have with me yet. And I was so thankful that I knew my sister-in-law had the same morals, had the same expectations, and was able to have those conversations with her, you know. And with my boys, it was, they had this coach that I really relied on, and he was super awesome. I could bounce things around with him. So it's important for all of us to have that natural support system. And again, that's kind of what Adventures in Parenting does, is it provides all of us with a support system. So that's those are the basic things that I wanted to share with you about the difficult topics. And again, you're going to get this flyer or this little pamphlet that I put together. And then you are also going to get a couple other reading opportunities that are reading materials that I found online that were super easy to find. And then you also see my contact information. So if something does come up after we meet, or there's something going on that you just want a little bit more detail about how to have that conversation, I would be happy to meet with you face to face, or I would be happy to meet with you over the phone, or however you would like that done. But that, I talk fast, so I probably talked pretty quick. But does anybody have any questions or anything that they'd like to add or ask me?
Kim, you talked about looking for different resources on the internet, videos and whatnot. How do we know something is reliable? That, there's so many bad things on the internet. How do we know what's something that we can trust?
Okay, that's a great question. And so that's going to come back to you as a parent. Is this something that you want your child to be part of? Is this something that you want your child to know about? If your gut is telling you that something that you're looking at online might not truly fit what your beliefs are, then definitely I wouldn't look to that as a resource that I would share with my child when talking about specific topics, whether it be, let's go back to like the cancer example that I provided. So, if I were going to be talking to my child in regards to cancer, and not knowing what is completely reliable online, I might call my medical provider and just say, can you give me a couple of places on the internet that I could go to that would be reliable resources that I could share with my child in regards to this type of cancer? And so, again, that's where you would reach out in your community to those natural support systems, or you could reach out to public health officials, in so many different aspects. Maybe you have somebody who's dealing with a chemical dependency issue. Wažookį Nation has a phenomenal public health building and staff that you could go to and say, this is what I have going on in my life. Can you provide me with information? Can you lead me to the right resources online that are safe and reliable? Does that help, Renelle? Does that answer?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Oh, so I was just asked the question, how do you have difficult conversations with your adult children when you know that they need guidance? That is great. So I have 3 adult children, and as a mom who's lived a life, and who's had lots of different challenges in life and different life experiences, it can be challenging not to say, well, you should do it this way, right? What we do is we provide our children with guidance. We provide our children with honesty, and we build them up with confidence. Like, this is a really challenging thing for you right now. I'm here to listen. I'm trying to pick a specific thing in my head with my kids. So I don't have anything super stressful going on right now with any of them, but I'm trying to, so my daughter, she just got her 2nd degree in 3 years. And so she's 21. So 2 degrees by the age of 21 is pretty phenomenal. And she wants to go for a 3rd, but she wants to take a break. And she's super concerned about finances. So she's like, what do I do, Mama? What do I do? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will sit and listen to your options. When it's something a bit more serious, then if she should go now for her education, let's say your child's struggling with substance abuse, or you feel your child's drinking a little bit too much, just let your child know that, I see that this is happening, or these are my observations of what are happening. And I am concerned. Are you concerned about this behavior? Are you concerned about how often you're going out? And then just sit back and listen to your child and what they say. how they respond. If they respond out of anger, I can bet that they're feeling like they're really maybe consuming too much alcohol too. And so is there something that I can do to help you with this? Once they're 18, you guide, you listen, and you love. And then you repeat, guide, listen, love, you know, because it's hard, because they're gonna, I guess I do have a time. My son was consuming a ton of alcohol and not going to classes. And I was just like, you know, if college isn't the thing for you, that's okay. But I'm really worried about how much you're drinking. And so just leaning in. I leaned in. I didn't want to. I wanted to pretend that it wasn't happening. And I leaned in with a loving heart, not with anger, not with accusations. You know, I feel messages. Does that kind of answer that? It's hard. That's a hard thing because we love our children and we want the absolute best for them, and we want to protect them from any wrongs that could potentially happen to them.
So when we had 18, and she put off going to school to start dating one of her ex-boyfriends again, because he goes to school here. And she was accepted to Oregon. So now she's home. Like she should be out in Oregon. And where do you stop? Like, where do you have that conversation with her then? Like, I believe it. You'll be home on breaks, you know, like.
Yeah. One of the things that when my daughter wanted to leave and go to Montana, and she's like, I'm so scared to go. And I'm like, in 20 years, will you have regrets? In 20 years, are you going to regret not taking that opportunity because you were scared? You know, and so maybe just ask your daughter, like, in 20 years, are you going to look back and think this relationship was so worth it because I didn't go to Oregon? And if she can honestly look at you and she can look at herself, and that was something else I would always tell my kids, go ask yourself in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror when you say this and tell me what you see back. Because if you can do that and you feel good with that decision, that's awesome. I'm there to support you. Yeah, sitting back as a mom, you're like, go girl, go enjoy life.
For sure.
Yeah. Yep. That's the hardest part. It's that leaning in. And I would just say, like, hey, I've really been thinking about this a lot lately. And I just want you to know that it weighs heavy on my heart and heavy on my mind. And I think once we have this conversation, I'm going to feel better. So can we have this conversation for me? And then just lay it out to her and just say, you know, when you decided not to go to Oregon because of whomever, you know, it kind of tore me up inside because I just see how much life you have to live. And I know it's not my life that you're now living. And then just lean in and then just sit with the silence too. Because you don't always have to fill. Sit with the silence, sit with the big feels. Mine too. I'm a talker. Yeah. And the big feels. And if it's too difficult to start that conversation, write it down and do a journaling type thing or a letter type thing back and forth to each other. Say, hey, I'd like to write you a letter. Would you be interested in reading it and then replying to me? You know, it's just some things I've been thinking about and I just want to get your viewpoint and see how that goes.
I'm trying.
Our kids.
Yeah, it's so hard.
It is so
They
hard.
think they're so in love. And yeah, I try to think of myself at 18, like, I really thought that too, like, not wanting to say anything almost.
Right? And it's acknowledging that I feel that you really love this person. And I'm so thankful that you have those feelings because they are very important. And honestly, I would let them know, like, if it's going to work out, you guys are going to go through some really challenging times. in your marriage. And if you can't get through some of these challenging times now, going to college in a different state or going into the military or whatever that case may be, then your marriage probably will not, and your relationship in the long run is not going to make it too. And so, you know, that's something else to think about, because yeah, that love is deep and it is strong as a teen and a young adult. And you need to validate that. You need to let them know that you understand that that's real to them. I mean, even though we know the likelihood of that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I really thought it was crazy when I was like, well, if you guys really love each other, you're supposed to support each other. So if you didn't get up and run today, and she didn't support you, I don't know if that's really love.
Yeah. And you leaned in.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you probably got him thinking a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions that they feel comfortable asking with the group? And if you get the materials and you have questions after you read the materials, you can always reach out, either email, cell phone, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And we can have other conversations too at that time. Maybe you and your daughter could go out for dinner one night, just the two of you.
Go out for dinner all the time.
Do you? Yeah. Yes. Oh.
She's my Velcro child. Never get her away. It's literally like, she's attached to like him, but don't try to have this hard conversation. She's like I gotta be.
Oh, because she's not ready to dig into them. Yeah. And you say she's your Velcro child. So it sounds to me like, could there possibly be like some anxiety there? Or is it because she just truly enjoys being with you and doing things?
No, probably separation anxiety for sure.
Yeah, that's my daughter. Yep. And me, I have a lot of anxiety. I really have to push myself.
How did you do that as a parent? Like kids finally like moved out and moved away from home, and like you came to that realization like they don't live here anymore.
Oh my gosh. So the boys left first and I was totally fine with them leaving because, you know, I was close to them and I loved them, but my daughter and I just had more in common. When she left me, she graduated early and moved to Montana. I was devastated. And so I really needed to think about where I was, who I was again, not as a mom, because I had been a mom for 27 years, like everything revolved around my children. So I really needed to look inward at myself, my own emotions and who I was, and find the new me. And it's pretty awesome. The new me is pretty awesome. But it was challenging. And I really had to have some deep conversations with my husband too, you know, and he made the comment because I said, I don't have anybody to take care of. And he's like, take care of me. And I sat there for a second and I went, no, I don't want to take care of you. Like, I guess I don't want to take care of anybody but me, you know? So it was a challenge, but it's so much better now. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear with, I mean, us being native though too, is we could walk into a house and do a home visit or, you know, go visit even family, and it's generation and generation and generation living in the same household. You know, it's the kids and the parents, the grandparents, maybe an aunt or uncle or cousin or whoever you're taking in at that time. And I have that fear too, that we're so family oriented that we're holding our children back, that they're never gonna be, you know, Wittenberg or Wackerberg or Dallas or whatever that is. Because it's all they know. It's
right.
These little nuclear families of, you know, grandma's always been in the next room over, or
and see, but
next door.
I see that as such a huge benefit though, that family connection. I mean, yes, we want our children to have these wonderful experiences that maybe we didn't have, But those family experiences and that family support is awesome, because I've worked with so many people that don't have that Daga, don't have that Gaga, and who are trying to do it all on their own. And I would 110 times over take that family, huge connection, and that small town, never leave Wittenberg type thing any day over the kids that, I mean, and not that I want to say either or is bad, but family is huge. And if you've got family, man, you're so blessed. So I refer back to my daughter leaving for Montana because, she wanted to go out there and meet a cowboy and it was going to be so much better out there, right? She moved back 6 months later because she didn't want to be away from family. She's like, I missed hunting. I missed fishing with my brothers. I miss my mom. I miss the family meals. And so, she went out and explored for 6 months, but then realized how fabulous it was being around family. I guess with like your daughter specifically and your son too is, just let them know, like, this was my life and you know what my life was like. And as a mom, I want so much more for you. Like, I want so much more for you. And if I would have had the courage at your age, or if I would have had the opportunity, and I could go back in time, I would take it. And then just let them know, like, I know that you're you and you're going to do what you want to do and I'll support you. But just know, like, potentially someday you will regret not taking these opportunities that are presented to you. So, and again, I had to tell myself, am I wanting my children to live through me? Because I pushed my boys to go to college. I pushed them hardcore. You need to go to college, because I did not want them to work as hard as dad and I did, struggling to pay the bills and to put food on the table. I'm like, you guys have to get your degrees when you're young so you can make good money. And they both quit school. The first one, after the first semester, was in debt. He's like, this isn't for me, Mom. I'm not a college guy. And, the other one quit after 3 years. He's 1 year away from his degree. And I was like, oh my God, you are so far in debt. Like, and you're quitting now. And I had to tell myself, it's not your life. It's not your life. And I apologized to them profusely, like, I am sorry that I pushed so hard for you to go to college. And that's part of parenting too, is like, when you have these difficult conversations, you're going to learn more. And you're never going to be the perfect parent. I am by far not the perfect parent. But every time I have conversations with other parents, specifically like in Adventures in Parenting, I learn more from other parents. I learn so much from the kids that I work with and listening to kids. So if parents call me and say, my son, blah, 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 can you go meet with him? And I'll go meet with son and I'll sit and listen to son. And I'll be like, that makes so much sense. And I can take it back to mom in a different content and in a different way. And I wish I would have had somebody do that for me. I wish somebody would have said that to me about pushing my kids to go to college. They are both thriving adults doing completely different things than I ever imagined that they would have done. They're just doing phenomenal. So, I learned a lot with my boys. I experimented a lot on my boys. A lot, as a lot of parents do, because you don't know, because you just don't know. Are there any other comments or questions? So just to kind of recap, you want to make your child feel comfortable. You want to ask them questions so you can kind of figure out what they already know or what they might be thinking. You want to be honest with them at all times. Be honest. If they're super little, you're going to kind of let them set the pace, because you don't want to overwhelm them too much with too much information. You're going to listen, not only with your ears, but with your eyes and your heart. You're going to build on what they tell you, what they already know. You're going to research together. You're going to read a book, watch a video, or make that call, to the physician or the therapist together. Or reach out to a therapist or a counselor, somebody who's got more knowledge on the topic than you have. There's tons of people out there. You're going to be responsive, especially during those challenging parenting times. And you're going to look for cues in their play and their behavior, because all behavior is a form of communication. So you could potentially see different behaviors coming out in your child because they're trying to process all these big feelings from the difficult topic that's happening in your life. So yeah, cool. Thank you, everyone.
There we go. All right. I'd like to say Pinagigi and thank you to Kim for coming and having that discussion with us about difficult conversations. And thanks everybody for joining in person and online. As a reminder, these sessions are being recorded and they will be available on the Department of Health website page and our Facebook page. We look forward to seeing you at our next session, Wednesday, October 8th, as we are happy to have a dietetics student with us to talk about healthy cooking. You can also use the same link that you joined with today for any and all of our future sessions. To add to the recurring WebEx link to your calendar, please email Renelle and I, and we will forward you the link. We want to hear from you. We ask that you please take a few minutes to complete our feedback survey. You can send the QR code from your phone or use the link in the chat. You can also reach out to Renelle and I with any feedback, and we will put our emails in the chat for you. As Renelle already did, we thank you for joining again, and everyone have a good day.